What's up guys, how are we all doing? Welcome to this week's video. I'm good, you good, great. Now this week I'm going to do something a bit different, and it's something that I've been thinking about doing for a while but I've been putting off, and I just thought, no, let's just do it. So some of you guys know and some of you don't know that I am disabled. I've been disabled all my life, I've had to live through it, and I've just got on to deal with it. And it's been part of my life, and I've had a different view of life because of it. And I think like that's something that I can bring to YouTube. I think it's one of the things that actually made me thought, hey, let's do this, because you've got a different view on things. And I want to help people doing this. I want to basically do this to make people smile, make people happy. But I think some things need to be said that other people don't know, and I feel like maybe I could be the one that says it. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 things that you shouldn't do or say in front of a disabled person. I know, controversial, wow, throw all the comments down there. But I just feel like it's something that needs to be said, and I think it's some things people say they do, but they don't realise they're doing them sometimes. It's one of those things. So, here are my top 5 things you just shouldn't say or do in front of a disabled person. So let's get started. And number 5 is a very simple one. Don't walk in front of the chair. Jesus Christ, do you realise how hard them things are to control, especially the electric ones? The motors in them are so sensitive. If you walk in front of one, and you are walking at 2 miles an hour, you try and control a chair. It's not easy. You are basically asking, and I was getting a disabled person, I'm sure you agree with them, if you're standing in front of a chair, you're basically asking them to run over your legs. You really are. They're not the easiest thing to control, and the majority of the times you will get your ankle hit. And it hurts. It really bloody hurts. Believe me, I've had it done to myself. So, to save yourself in any trouble, every now and then, if you don't mind doing it, just look behind you. See if there's a chair behind you, and if so, get the hell out of the bloody way and let them through. It's not the hard thing in the world. Just get on and do it. So when you get run over and your ankle gets hurt, you can't blame anyone else but yourself. Done. I've said it. And number 4 is a simple one. Just don't do it. And everyone says, but we don't. You do. Staring. Now, it's a very easy thing to happen. It can be like, maybe the condition of the person is very obvious and you can see it, and you don't know how to react. Just don't stare though, because I guarantee you, they will spot you, and it makes them feel more awkward. And the worst thing to do is stare, because it makes them feel worse about themselves. And the last thing they need is that. The majority of the time, I actually know people that have had to build up courage just to go down the shop, because they're worried about people staring at them. So don't stare, it makes things so much more worse. And number 3 is kind of the same thing, but it's more something that I've had to deal with more myself. So just hear me out on this one. Staring, but on holiday at scars. Right, I have scars. I have very obvious scars. I have a massive scar down my chest because I've had like something stupid like 20 heart procedures. I also have a massive scar down my back where I've had a spinal fusion, which is basically where they take out the majority of your back and replace it with rods and screws. Yes, it was bloody painful. I also have another scar on my arm where I had a massive lump. I have scars all around my body. And over years, I've had to hate them. I love them. But I have learned to deal with them. And I am now proud of them. They are what makes me, me. And I can't help that. I was born the way I am and I had to have the surgery. If I didn't have the surgery, I'd be dead. Okay? So, if you want to ask a scar, go ahead! Do it! But when you're doing it every 10 minutes and you obviously can see someone has just asked the same thing, after about 3 or 4 days into the holiday, for me, personally, it can get a bit repetitive and it can get a bit annoying as well. If you're going to stare, stare, but ask a question. Also, just because it's not scars, they might have a thing called a gastric button. Now, I've had one in my life, and it is basically a thing that's in your stomach that gives you feeds. That is a very seeable thing. It is very obvious and very clear. Don't stare at it. They can't help it. They obviously can't. They need assistance to use it. The people that need them are people that can't eat enough food, so they have to have feed so they can eat the proper amount and put on the weight and stay healthy. It's a general thing to help them be alive. Yes, it's seeable, but don't stare at it. It's the same thing with the scars. Just don't look at it. Well, yes, it's seeable, but maybe they can't help it. Maybe. Yeah. Just don't stand there and stare at them. Because the majority of the time, and I will happily admit it, and I think a lot of people will agree with me here, when we go on holiday, I get quite nervous about taking off my top, because I know people will start staring from about 5 minutes after when it's been taken off. It's an immediate thing. It always happens, and I just get used to it. But don't stare. And if you really, 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 really want to know about it, just come over and ask, how did you get them scars? Do you mind if I ask what's wrong with you? The majority of the time, we will just say, hi, I'm Charlie, I have a heart condition, or whatever it is. But just don't stand there and stare, because it makes it awkward and it makes a holiday a lot less enjoyable. Right, here's something that I've had to deal with personally. I don't think everyone's had to deal with this. This is something I've had to try and like get across to people loads, and I'm really pushing for at the moment, is that basically every single condition in the world is not seeable. My condition is obviously not seeable. I am not in a wheelchair all the time. Fair enough, I am the days when I'm ill, but it's not something that I've had to, you know, use 24/7. I am one of the lucky ones that can sometimes walk around. But just because we don't look disabled doesn't mean we're not. Point on number 2 is when we park our cars in the disabled space and we put the badge up and we get out, don't start screaming and going, they're not disabled. They might be. You can't see the condition. It can be a lot worse than what is seeable. And another thing, just because they weren't born disabled doesn't mean they're not now. Meaning that even if the condition still isn't seeable and they look older, doesn't mean they're not disabled. What are those other people? Oh yeah, the people that go into the army, yeah, they get their arms or legs blown up. They have to have amputated legs. Right, they are entitled for a disabled car then. Granted, you still can't see the disability, but they are still disabled. Don't stare, just get on with your life like they are trying to as well. So my main point of this is just this. When we get out the car and I start walking normally, don't say anything or stare. We could still be disabled, you just can't see it. And at number 1 is, oh, I hate this one so much, and it is something I've had to deal with, and nearly everyone, I go to a disabled school, okay, basically, and everyone at the school is disabled. I'm with disabled people all the time, and about 99% of them agree with me on this one, and that is this. Don't use the word special. Special, to me, and to a majority of disabled people, is a swear word. It is basically another way of saying, not normal, you're disabled. You will look at the majority of the time, anything to do with disabled people, about a good 80% of the time, if you read up on whatever the things about charity, a school, whatever, the word special will be chucked in there. They don't use the word disabled because I don't want to offend people. So it's basically using that in a different way. And we hate it. It's just, they are very special people. No, we're not. We are normal people. Okay, let's get one thing straight now. Disabled people are normal people that live life a little bit differently than you. And the main majority of disabled people want one thing out of life: to be accepted in normal society. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but apparently, because of the political correctness and all this other stuff of you can't say this and you can't say that, they replace disabled with the word special, which is 5 times worse in my opinion. We are not special, we are normal people. All we want is to be accepted and not stared at. That is all we want out of life, the majority of us. We just want to go on and live like everybody else. And here's another thing, the word normal. Who the blinking hell came up with that? So you're telling me every single person in the world is the same. Right, now let's view this from my opinion and my way of seeing life for just 1 second. About half the people on Earth are not disabled, granted, but about another half of them are. So you're telling me normal is not disabled. Well, hang on. What if, for 1 second, it was the other way around? Yeah, mind-blowing. What if disabled was the normal thing, and being abled was actually the disabled? Because to us, seeing someone in a chair is normal. Seeing someone having to use a computer to talk is normal. You're the weird ones, your legs work normal, you can walk around. That's freaky! Right, if we're not normal, neither are you. Done. I hope this has given people a better view on what it's actually like to be disabled, because I've started this channel to basically do stuff like this. I want to help people basically be happy. That's what I want to do. My intention in life is to make people smile, because I have gone through so much crap. Being miserable really doesn't help. So being able to put a smile on someone's face or make them laugh is genuinely one of the highlights of my life or the day, because to know you've made one person's day better is a lot better than making everyone else miserable. Yes, I'm going to do the rants, yes, I'm going to do the challenges and the funny videos like all the other vloggers. I'm going to do videos like this because I think this is something that not only can we talk about, but something that I think if we're careful about it, we can have a bit of a laugh with as well, if you say it in the right content. Because another thing, that even though people, you need to be careful when you say it, and I recommend you do it when you know the person very well, but the majority of disabled people, not saying all, just a lot of people that I know, we can take a joke about our disability. We can take it quite lightheartedly. And I think that's another thing that I want to be able to say, is that just because sometimes you may say things that are completely wrong and can be extremely offensive, the sometimes joke every now and then can be accepted. I mean, look at me for instance. Massive heart condition, sometimes need oxygen, but hey, doesn't mean I ain't going to go for the London Marathon. And that's what I mean. Let's try and have a laugh and just be happy and just enjoy life for what it is, because that's what I've been trying to do for the last 17.5 years. And I hope you're trying to as well. That's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up in the corner. And if you're new, please press subscribe, because we're near 100 subscribers. We're getting there. We really are nearly there. So let's do this as soon as possible, because I just want this channel to grow and grow and grow. And I think this is something that really could be special. Oh, great, I said it. That really could be unique. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week on Saturday. Goodbye.